Alright, so we're going to fix the AO and the normal map for his neck area right here. It's got this weird hard line right here, which I don't particularly care for. So this is going to be just kind of a baking fix. So we go to the texture set settings, make sure that we're on the head material, okay, and that we are in the ambient occlusion single channel. And from here we'll go to in texture settings we want to change our ambient occlusion mixing to be replace. Okay, so now with that in place we can go to our layers and we'll actually make a new fill layer, and we will just change the base color to ambient occlusion, and we want to turn everything off except for AO. So now all we have is ambient occlusion as a uniform color, which is what we're basically seeing as just all white. Okay, so with that in mind, we want to actually choose our ambient occlusion map that's already in the project. So you can type under resources. So if you click on this ambient occlusion, and under resources, if you just type in project, it should show up in your list. And I can see that this is the head right here. So I'll select this guy as my ambient occlusion. Okay, and so that's what we're seeing is our ambient occlusion map right here. All right, so with that, now what we want to do is add a paint layer. Okay, so with this, the multiply is the blending mode. You can actually just turn this to normal, which is fine. And then we'll add a new paint layer. So add a paint layer on top of this, and we want to turn on just AO, so just Alt and AO. Okay, and then from here, if you select the smudge brush, okay, you can go in here. And I'm going to turn this down just a little bit. And so, actually I'll be on this. Oh, okay. When you change to the smudge brush, you see that everything got turned back on, and I don't want that. So I'm going to undo. So I'm just going to create a new paint layer. I'm on the smudge brush. You want to make sure, if that happens to you, that you make sure that you just are painting AO. Okay, and so from here we should be able to grab that. Oh, and then also turn this to pass through. Okay, so now with pass through turned on, you can come in here and smudge that out. Okay, so I'm just kind of smudging that color away and out of that. So it's not, I'm not getting that hard line on the neck anymore. Okay, so you can just kind of smudge around to where you're getting this a little bit cleaner. Okay, so here and here too. So just want to kind of mix those colors so it looks a little cleaner. Okay, so that probably also you can turn down the flow too, just so it doesn't do too. So it's not too crazy. So I'm just kind of mixing this in, softening that area up. Okay, so now when you look at that, we don't get that hard line. There's no longer that hard line around the neck. So here I just want to kind of clean that up a little bit. So it looks better. And then here I'm actually going to go into these eyes, because this is a little buggy as well to me. So actually still basic hard brush. Okay, and still an AO. I'm just kind of painting this out or smudging it out. Actually, I'm going to go back to the soft brush just because it's just a little bit smoother. And then also turn, my flow was just super hard. Okay, that's okay. You're not going to really see the inside of those eyes anyway, but it's just kind of a cleanup thing that I'm trying to make sure all my maps are a little bit cleaner. So if we go back to material mode and then go back, change this back to base color, and then I'm actually going to select these two and group them. Okay, so group layer, and so this layer is going to AO fix layer. So then now that's just basically, I know that that's all this is. Close that folder. It's just an AO fix layer. Okay, if I go back to it and want to change anything, I want to make sure that when I do open that up and I go to those layers, okay, I want to make sure that I'm under ambient occlusion, and you'll go back to seeing what that is. Okay, so since I know it's an AO fix layer, I want to be in ambient occlusion. Okay, and then you're also, when you're painting it, you want to be in this ambient occlusion mode. That way you can see what the AO looks like. Okay, so with that in mind, so just going back to regular material, and then I can go back to base color and just close this folder, which is fine. So we can no longer see that craziness that was going on. But in the normal, we're still seeing this in the normal, so we want to fix that under the normal. Okay, so to fix the normal now, we want to actually add, also go under the texture set settings again, okay, and then under normal mixing, you want to change this to replace as well. Okay, and then so under the layer, when you create a new fill layer, you can name this, this is going to be under the normal, so we want to be in, let's see, normal, and then we also want to, under the layer, we want to be under normal, okay, and then we also want to be just under normal, so Alt and normal, and then here we want to actually bring in our normal that's already been baked. So with this one, I believe this is the head. Yep, you can just kind of roll over it and see. So this is the one that we're working on, so normal head, and we can see that that normal map is correct on his head, and so we want to make those changes under his neck, or right here at his neck where the head connects. So with this, we want to change this to normal, and then also our new paint layer. Okay, new paint layer, we're going to name this, we're going to send this to pass through, and then also make sure that this is just normal. And so now all we're working on is the normal. So normal, pass through. So this is going to look right at the layer that's underneath. Okay, so with that in mind, flow is down pretty low, size not too bad. So here we can actually just kind of blend this. Okay, so we'll see that this normal is going to be nice and blended now. We'll get rid of that hard line that we had. Okay, so here we just basically paint this out, and now when we go back to look, so that should be painted out, and we'll just frame with F, and we can see that that's painted out in the normal. Okay, so when we go to hit material mode, we no longer see, it's all painted and clean. Okay, so you don't have that weird normal curvature line sitting at his neck anymore. So with that, we also want to switch back to base color, and we know that these are normal fixes. Okay, so we select these two, and we're going to, so just to make sure, okay, we switch this to normal, so that's what we're seeing, these two normal layers that so we have a pass through and a normal layer. So we'll just select these two guys, and we'll group layer, and we're going to name this normal fix. Normal fix layer. Okay, and then we can change that back to base color, close that, and now, okay, it looks like I put that underneath the AO, which was not my intention. So I'm going to grab this and put this up above. So now I just have a normal fix layer and an AO fix layer, and that's just on the head. So actually I think with these eyes too, I can go in and tweak that as well. And I think that this might be in the actual curvature map too. So yeah, so with that normal, if we go back under normal and switch that to normal, we can paint this nonsense out as well. I'm getting some weirdness in here. So if we go to the pass-through mode, and then we can basically smooth that out. And then also probably want to smooth this out as well, just so it's not so harsh. Like, we want this to be smooth and not hard. So I'm just kind of painting over that. I want this to be a smooth transition, so we're not getting like super hard areas there. I don't mind it so much around that eye, but it's fine. We'll smooth all this out. And what I should have done was turned on symmetry. Now this is making sure that this is so this eyelid looks like it's I just want this to be a smooth transition, not this hard line on here. So just nice and smooth. Just going to smooth that out, and then here, just go in here, and just kind of smooth this area. So we're not getting any crazy lines. Okay, so just smooth. There we go. So just frame this. Just take a look. See what we're seeing. So if I go to material mode, so that's what we're seeing. A little better. Okay, getting some weirdness right here as well. So I'm just gonna cycle through this. Is it in the AO? AO and in the normal. Okay, so under the normal, I want to go to this pass-through, and I'm going to turn on the symmetry mode, and come here, make sure that I'm on this layer, and smudging. Oh, mesh, okay. That's weird. There we go. I was under mesh maps. So I just want to smooth this out. Getting this weirdness. Oops. brush. I don't know where that's coming from. That is really, it's really strange. I'm seeing that in the nose. I'll turn off symmetry. Just frame that out. And go to material. It's not as bad as it was. Probably won't see it when we actually export that out. So I'm just going to go back to base color and then collapse that normal fix layer. Alright. So kind of want to do the same thing with the socks area. I'm getting some weirdness around the socks too, so I want to fix those two areas, and then we'll move over to exporting. Okay, so now we'll fix the AO and normal for where our shoes are at. So just want to make sure that we're on the body material, and so we'll create a new fill layer, and this will be, we'll work on the normal first. So let's make sure we're on normal mixing to replace, and so we'll go to our layer. We want to make sure we're in the normal channel, and we'll set this to normal, and we'll select the normal uniform color, and I believe it's this one right here, so we'll select that guy. And from here we'll change this to normal, add a paint layer, set to pass through, and set this to normal. And then we can go to our smudge brush and make sure we're on normal, and the flow, everything is okay. So here we should be able to just smooth this out. And just want to make sure that you're, actually I'm going to undo that and set this to symmetry. And then let's make sure we're on normal, smudge. Oh, okay. We can't be on symmetry then. Oh, we want this to be pass through. Undo. Undo. So turn on symmetry. Turn this to pass through. And here, actually just smudge this. Although I'm not, I don't feel like I'm getting the smudge I'm looking for. So I'm just going to undo all these. Undo. So, okay, so now all we have is our fill layer. We're going to set this to normal. Okay. And here we'll create a paint layer that's just set to normal. This will be set to pass through. This is under normal mode, normal, and we have the smudge brush. Okay. And I'm just going to zoom out. Maybe my flow is too much. Let's undo that. Normal map, combine. Actually, I just want to make sure that this, okay, normal mixing is set to replace, which is right. And our normal pass through. Coming through here. Just don't want that hard line there. So it's coming through here. Just smoothing this out. Nice stroke opacity. Maybe that's, let's figure out why I'm not. There we go. Yeah, my opacity was set to, there we go. Now I can actually set this to blend a little better. Oops, don't want to overshoot the shoe there. So just making sure I'm in a smaller brush. Trying to get right under there. Yeah, that brush just doesn't want to mix very well there. So just bumping that brush up a little bit. And it looks a little better. So if I hit material, so the normal is fixed, but the AO is probably not. So if I switch this over to AO, so it looks like that normal is okay, that one's fixed. That's fine. Okay, so I'm actually going to just change this back to material. And then going to select these two, group the layers, call this normal fix, layer, and then going to collapse that, go back to base color, okay, and from here I will go to, so we'll go to our ambient occlusion, then go to texture set settings, and under ambient occlusion mixing we're going to change that to replace. Go to layer, add a new fill layer, and we just want AO, and we're going to load up the AO for this guy, and that's all we have is the AO. So ambient occlusion, we'll make sure that this is set to ambient occlusion. Create a new paint layer, set this to pass through, and here. So now we should be able to turn off normal. We just want AO on this guy and just AO on this one. And we want smudge brush, and we are still riding down the middle. So now should be able to smudge this out. Yep, exactly what I was thinking it should do, and it's looking correct. Let's push this white down into here and just kind of smudge that. Actually, getting weird. So just kind of smudge this around. Just looking for what we want to. Just kind of smudge. Smudge, smudge, smudge. Smudge, smudge. And so we'll just push this white color down into here so it's not super heavy on that tongue area. So I'm just gonna, this might not be the perfect solution, but this seems to work okay for the most part. Gets some of this stuff kind of cleaned up. So I don't want this hard line right there. So just smudging that out. Yeah, this either. I don't want this. So just trying to clean that up a little bit better. Instead of going too fast, just need to take my time. Suggest to you as well, just take your time with this. A lot of this stuff is actually this flow, I want this. I think this is where this opacity. I'm just kind of pushing this around. Getting weird. May have to take this over to Photoshop too. But you can also go here to, I think you can actually just paint this in the AO. So go to AO. We don't want normal. So we want more like this color right here. Yep. And here we can kind of paint this in. Kind of paint it how we want it, and then go to the smudge brush and smudge that around. Still getting a little weirdness right there. Actually, if I go to the paintbrush, turn the flow and the opacity down, and then come in here. So once that's painted on, and then actually add a little bit of white as well. And then come in with the smudge. Kind of smudge this around a little better. It's a little weird right there, but nothing crazy. So if I zoom out, shouldn't look too crazy. At least the tongue is kind of painted out of there. So if I go to material, yeah, you can see that it's kind of painted out of there a little better. Just looks a little cleaner. Just fine. Turn this off. Go back to base color and select these two and group, and show you. Okay, that's why I'm like, what am I seeing here? I just had the folder open, so if I turn that off, you can see the, so that's with the A on, which is good. Alright, so from here, should collapse that and just name this AO Fix layer. Okay, and then I'll go to save. Actually, I'm going to do a save as and call this number 3, just to make sure that this is different. After I've made those changes, I just want to make sure that I'm saving over the right one. So, and we will go over exporting real quickly and take this back over to Maya.